Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, time now for the Blue and Gold Show, brought to you by Coast Central Credit Union. Get ready for the big game for tomorrow night with all that and a whole lot more. Ladies and gentlemen, it's John Mad Dog Horner.
Full studio of 49er fans in the house today.
Oh, man.
Gotta love it.
I got my pride.
You do. You got
Blue
your
Friday.
It is.
It is Blue Friday, my friends. Gotta be. So who you guys playing? Green Bay this weekend?
Green Bay this weekend.
That's a tough game.
Sunday night.
Then New Orleans next weekend.
The Niners get these highlighted evening games
So
because
it'll be 8-4 by the next couple of weeks. Is that what you're saying? 8-4. 8-4. And we'll be 10-2.
Yeah. Keep wishing, Mikey. We'll see how it goes.
But we got a big game tomorrow night.
Welcome, Warrior fans.
We got a couple of guys here, too.
Yeah, and we got a special edition, playoff edition of the Blue and Gold Show, brought to you by Coast Central Credit Union. In the studios with me this morning is senior defensive back Nick Freeman and his little brother, sophomore lineman Trevor Freeman. Fellas, it's a pleasure to have you both in the studios this morning. And how about a shout out to the families?
Pleasure to be here. Good morning, Mom, Alexis, and Dad.
Good morning, Mom, Dad, and Alexis.
Man, they both get shout outs. That's great. It wasn't families, it was family. The Del Norte Warriors will host Moreau Catholic Mariners tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Mike Whalen Field in the semifinals of the North Coast Section playoffs. That's right, Warrior fans. The football game is tomorrow night, not tonight, and the game time is 7, not 7:30. I don't mean to call out my Warrior faithful community, but last week, we were lacking a little bit in attendance at game time at 7. I saw everybody in the turn lane showing up at the game. So if you're a Warrior fan, make sure you get there early tomorrow night. Set that atmosphere for the Warriors as they come out onto the field, and let's show our community support to the Warrior team. Well, let's take a look at how the Warriors got here. Last week, the Warriors hosted the Alhambra Bulldogs in the opening round of the playoffs. The Bay Area-based Bulldogs were not ready for the hard-hitting ground and pound game the Warriors had in store for them, as the Warriors dominated in all facets of the game, defeating the Bulldogs by a final score of 41-6. Nick, this Alhambra team came into the game as a spread team offensively. What were the keys to your guys' success last week against a pass-heavy team?
Yeah, they were a spread team, but we watched a lot of film, and we got down their tendencies and what plays they expected to run. Our assignments, we did a lot of we did some man, and we made sure that they didn't get anything deep downfield, but we were also ready for the run because it was kind of a wet game, and we were expecting them to come out and try to run the ball, especially when they're in doubles. We had our defensive line put up great pressure on the quarterback. We had a total of 5 or 6 sacks on the game. That quarterback was not happy by the end of the night. He was definitely, their white uniforms were brown. We rallied to the ball well, coming downhill and making sure that there was nothing coming, that they weren't cutting anything back or using their athleticism. I think the ground on the field definitely helped that a bit because they couldn't make their cuts quite as sharp. But we came downhill and we hit.
I think defensively, you guys have done a great job. I'll be the first critic. That first game of the season against Moreau Catholic, the secondary, at times I felt you guys were a tad bit lost in some aspects, getting beat downfield, missed assignments. But as the season has grown, it seems like you guys have gotten a lot better at understanding where you need to be and that kind of thing. I think the Mariners are in for a big surprise tomorrow night, seeing how you guys have grown against the past offenses. You saw against St. Bernard's, shut down one of the best receivers in the North Coast sections. And once again, last week, the Bulldogs had a top receiver in the section, shut him down to 0, 1 catch also. So hats off to the secondary for Del Norte. It gives me a lot of confidence going in tomorrow after that. Another highlight of last week was the play of Chase. It's hard to imagine a better back-to-back games than the 2 Chase Blackburn has turned in. After rushing for 255 yards on 10 carries against Eureka, the senior was limited to 194 yards on 15 carries. Blackburn averaged just shy of 18 yards a carry in those 2 games and has scored 6 touchdowns in the past 6 quarters. Kobe Mitchell has 5 TDs in the last 2 games. The Warriors' run game is off the charts in the last 2 weeks. I believe peaking at the right time when it comes to playoff football. Trevor, just a sophomore on this senior-heavy squad. Let's give some serious props to these linemen and you. How much have you learned and enjoyed playing with this group of guys?
I've learned a lot. It's crazy, the difference from going up from JV to varsity. It's insane the amount of more work you put in and how special everything is to get right. And the teamwork is amazing, and our assignments, we have to get down to point with everybody on the line. That way we know exactly what to do. We do a lot of film work and watch our feet and make sure we don't get off the ball too quick to get off sides and stuff like that.
I think coming into the season, it was big for you. A couple injuries came in. All of a sudden, you're plopped into this role of, really kind of the offensive line leaning on a sophomore in a lot of aspects, playing the tackle position. You kind of have to set that edge in a lot of different ways. How different has it been for you to take on that role, and how do you think, preparing for it and pride when it comes to that?
It's big. You have to carry pride on your shoulders. That way you know you can make that block, and you have to make that block no matter what. Because if you don't make that block on plays like sweep, that play's blowing up for sure.
You're looking at King, Faulkner, Slayton. I've talked a lot about throughout the year their football IQ. How much have you learned from those guys this year when it comes to blocking assignments?
I've learned a lot. Before the game, they come up to me and they make sure I'm ready, and they go over the plays with me, make sure I know exactly what to do on each play and my assignment. It's just so helpful having those guys helping me out.
Absolutely. Del North's opponent this week, the number 3 seeded Moreau Catholic Mariners, are coming off an impressive 56-27 victory over Miramonte in a game where the Mariners led 28-7 at the half and cruised to victory in the second half. Let's take a quick look on how the other teams did within our division. This is the Division 5 playoffs that Del North in. The number 1 seeded Encinal Jets beat the Fortuna Huskies. The Huskies went down to Encinal, gave them a run. They were only down 14-7 at the half. Encinal pulled away in the second half, ended up beating Fortuna 35-24. The number 1 seed will face De Anza, the number 4 seed, as De Anza defeated San Marin 41-21. And as we talked about, the Warriors won 41-6. And Moreau Catholic will face the Warriors, defeating Miramonte 56-27. Pretty much all 3 decisive wins for all 4 of the top-ranked teams. So no surprises there, but that means we're going to have 2 great games this week. We'll be back with the preview of tonight's game against the Mariners after these messages from our sponsor.
Hi, Crescent City. I'm Robert Machado, manager of Coast Central Credit Union. Do you want free checking? We've got it with e-statements. Coast Central makes it easy and pays higher interest rates too. Plus, we have online banking and mobile banking, competitive loans, retirement planning, and much more. Experience the credit union difference. Personalized service that can't be beat. Come find out why we've been voted best financial institution for so many years. We're located at 660 L Street, or visit us at coastccu.org.
Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
This is the story of a very special woman. Just a few knew about her superpowers. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Not quite ready for the holidays? Warm up to the season with McCafe donut sticks with chocolate dipping sauce and go from this.
Okay, Janice, I'm going to need you to take your holiday spirit from a 10 to a 2 before I pop your inflatable snowman.
To this.
Janice, these holiday decorations are a revelation. Oh, want to wear our matching light-up sweaters to the tree lighting ceremony tonight?
Warm up to the holidays with light, flaky donut sticks, now with new chocolate dipping sauce and the cinnamon cookie latte only from McCafe. Good is brewing. At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Welcome back to the Blue and Gold Show here Friday morning. It's not Friday Night Lights, though. We're not playing till Saturday. The Warriors will host the Moreau Catholic Mariners tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Mike Whalen Field in the semifinals of the North Coast section. Playoffs will be on the air at 6:30 with a pregame show on 97.9 and on DelNorthSports.com. In the studio with me today is the Freeman brothers. Nick, let's talk about tonight's matchup. This will be the second time we have played the Mariners this year, and as the Warriors defeated the Mariners in the first game of the season this year in Oakland by a final score of 21-20 in a game where the Warriors bent but didn't break and held on for a victory. Defensively, what can you take from that game to prepare for tomorrow night's game?
Completely different teams. They've got two running backs that we didn't face the first game of the season, and we're a completely different team too. I think we're a lot better than we were the first game. I think we've come a long way throughout the season and the 10 games that we've played since then. There's a lot of difference in their game because they've gone from more of a passing team to a running team since they have those two new running backs that we didn't see at the beginning of the season. I think we're starting to utilize our other aspects of our game too, whether it be throwing the ball down the field or doing what we do best and running it down your throat. We're a completely different team than what it was.
No, taking a look at, you defensively, we saw a Mariner team that was very athletic in the first game of the season. You guys struggled at times tackling in open space, but you've gotten a lot better at that. If you're looking back at your 10-game season, does this Mariner team probably have the most skill position players, most athletic players you've seen yet?
Yeah, that whole team is really athletic, and we have to be ready to tackle in open space and come down, rally to the football because they're not going to be afraid to cut back. And they're fast. They're fast.
Trevor, up front, how do the Warriors match up with this Mariners team?
We're both pretty big, and we match up really well with them, but I think our conditioning's better than theirs, and I think we could grind it out longer than them. Our style of play is a lot like, we play a lot like each other now because they got their two new running backs back, and they like to run it now, but I think our defensive line is going to stop it.
We talked a lot about conditioning all the way throughout the year. How big is it? The second half of that Mariner game, you guys opposed your will on the offensive line. How important is that for you guys to do tomorrow?
It's really important. It's really going to come down to who's more conditioned and who's ready, who has the heart to take this win.
Nick, I hate to bring it up, but it all started that first game with the plague of penalties. How have the Warriors addressed that issue when it comes to penalties?
We're a lot more fit. We are a lot more disciplined, and the past couple of games we haven't committed near as many penalties, and I think it has to come down to just keeping our head in the game and going through it in practice and going on to and everything else that our blocks, making sure that we're not holding or anything like that.
Well, I'm going to stick right here with you, with you, Nick. The pancake block thing, since we only got about 30 seconds left. It was a stat we kept at the beginning of the season. We had a lot of them against Moreau Catholic. What is a pancake block, and how have we gotten away from having that stat?
Pancake block is where you meet your guy at the line of scrimmage and you drive him back until he falls on the ground, and then you lay on him. I think part of it is the refs around here don't really like that style of play, so they're not used to us physically beating people.
Toby Keith.
Well, I'm looking for a great game tonight. Game time tomorrow night is 7 p.m. Warrior fans, I'll be honest, I was a tad bit embarrassed last week as the stands were half empty at kickoff, very unlike the Warrior community. So get out and support your Warriors tomorrow night as the Warriors are ready to battle the Mariners. Mikey, you ready?
Ready. All right. Thank you, guys.
Go Warriors.